Welcome to the Sailor Noob podcast, where a superfan and a noob talk about the original Sailor Moon episode by episode. I'm your host, Mikan Hana, joined by my co-host.
I'm your co-host, Caliban, and I have been dreading this one.
Uh-oh, and we're a couple of magical people ready to Moon Prism power make up this episode. Sailor Noob is a part of the Just Enough Trope Network. Today, we are talking about episode number 23. Nagare Boshi ni Negai wo Naru-chan no Junai in Japanese. Wish Upon a Star, Naru's First Love, the English translation, and the English title, Molly's Folly.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
That's not so bad.
Yeah.
I don't got a big problem with that.
Like I think you mentioned last time, the only problem is in the subtitle version, her name isn't Molly, it's Naru.
Well, it doesn't work, yeah.
Yeah, but
Naru's Baru. Not Naru. Naru's Baru.
Naru.
Wango Tango.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
It doesn't matter because there's no. What's folly in Japanese?
I that's a good question. I don't know the answer.
It's not a good question if you can't answer it, and it slows down the show. So go, continue.
All right. Would you like to give us a brief breakdown of the episode?
Well, before I do that, I want to talk about this episode and where we've been going.
Okay,
little bit.
Let's do that.
Because this is like weird, you know.
This is Cal's recap sort of thing.
No, what? Yes, I'm going to do a recap.
Yeah, no, that's
this is
not
Cal wants to talk about what's going on here.
Okay, let's go for it.
And we've already talked about the age of consent in Japan. It's
sadly is actually 13, which is crazy low if you ask me. But
yes. And later in the episode, Naru says something. Nobody stops and says, Naru. I don't know how many 13-year-olds date men with Ferraris in Japan, but it's cast as he's bad because he is literally an evil being
is
from the Dark Kingdom.
Yeah.
But it's for Naru's argument is just like, well, age doesn't matter when you're in love, and it's like, well, yes, but these men in the blue uniforms want to talk to you real quick.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, this is a weird, we've talked about shows or episodes that have been just strucken completely from American broadcast because it's like, well, you don't need to watch that.
Right.
But this whole plot line
this is not one
can't be removed from the show.
No.
And is also involves like a 13-year-old being courted disingenuously by being preyed upon by a guy who Chris Hansen would tell to take a seat.
I know. I have read a couple of people's opinions on this on the web. Just kind of wanted to see what people were talking about. There, varying opinions. There are some people who are like, he absolutely was taking advantage of her. There's no way he was actually in love with her. Period.
It doesn't matter.
No.
I mean, legally, I guess it matters, or doesn't matter in Japan.
Right.
But this episode is about us talking about the intersectionality between American culture and Japanese culture.
Yes.
And I mean, I think it's appropriate to take 4 or 5 minutes at the beginning of the show here.
I think
and
so
be
too.
like, wow, what is
going on? And I read somebody's opinion that they thought that the Dark Kingdom, like Nephrite and as we see in Jadeite and also Zoisite and Kunzite, maybe they're not as old as we think they are.
He's not a 13-year-old.
No,
have you seen those epaulets?
Exactly.
Those are adult epaulets.
So they're trying to make it seem better, I think, in their own way, because they don't. I don't have to. I'm not trying to justify it. Like, right.
As I often say on maybe this show, but different podcasts that I have, I don't. These are all fictional people.
Right.
We don't need to call, the cops to help out Naru. She's not real. This is all just a narrative, and it's fine. And if it bothers you too much, I understand if you don't want to watch it or if you want to go on the internet and incessantly complain about it. Mm-hmm. I just want to bring up that I think it's strange, and I think that you just would not see this here, even if you had like let's say season 4, Stranger Things.
Mm-hmm.
Like a hot guy from the next town over is like, "Hey, Elle, what's going on? I'm a 26-year-old computer engineer." And
Right.
Elle's like, "You guys don't know him like I do.
Right.
They're all children."
Yes.
You know, they're all Stranger Things children.
Yes.
You would not even have that.
No, you wouldn't.
Whereas Naoko Takeuchi's like, "Yeah, that's right." He's got a cool car.
I tried like looking up like age differences and dating in Japan, and I found just a couple of things about it. There's not a whole lot out there about it, but some people
No,
but
okay.
but
It
some
seems
people
convenient for them.
yeah,
They're
I
like,
know.
Don't take it off the internet.
Right.
Take it off.
But I have seen some people like on Reddit or whatever being like, no, this is a thing. There's it's not uncommon for there to be larger age differences between couples that are dating. Like this one guy was like writing about it, and he's like, my wife is 13 years younger than me. I'm like, I don't know how old your wife is, so I don't know if that's a big deal or not. You know
well,
what
how
I
old
mean?
was that person?
He didn't say how old he was. So
Okay.
yeah.
Well, anyway, I
yeah.
guess we'll just keep that in the back of our minds.
It is
and
unsettling though.
Move on to the recap.
Yeah.
We open at the pool where children swim, and Naru
Yes.
is soaking her feet, but she's not happy. She's thinking about Mr. Masato Sanjoin.
I know.
This was creepy. She's woken from her reverie when Usagi splashes her. Naru chides Usagi for being childish. This is childish play.
Yeah.
And Usagi's like, "Oh, whoa, you're a big grown-up, huh?" And Naru's like, "Yes, because I am involved in a mature romance,"
I know.
she says in a childish way. Usagi's like, "Wait, what? You're in love with Humino? Hey, I better not be Tuxedo Mask or Motoki."
Yeah.
We're just running through the male cast of the show. "Hey,
Yeah.
hands off my dad."
Right?
"Wait, Jadeite is dead. What? The werewolf at the pension?" I think that's everybody. She's like, no. It's Mr. Sanjoin.
Yes.
Naru Sanjoin.
Yeah.
And Usagi's like, whoa, no. He is not a good guy. And Naru says, age doesn't matter when you're in love.
Yeah.
It's bad. And later at the temple, Ami and Rei and Usagi are getting together. They're talking about this. And Rei's like, okay, look, we got to tell her about Nephrite.
Yes.
And I guess I haven't been tracking this, but so they know that Nephrite is Mr. Sanjoin, right?
Yes. I think they found out the episode that he dressed as Tuxedo Mask.
Right. That they look exactly alike.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah.
So they could presumably look up his address in the phone book. They could head over to Creep House and waste this fool. What are they waiting for?
Good.
I have
point.
a gun in my room. I'll go get it. We come back. Bam. Problem solved.
I don't think they shoot people with guns.
Okay, all right, but they can fire. They can just incinerate him, I guess.
Yeah, there you go. With fire,
So,
that's much better.
They're not very active. I know they have cram school, but anyway, they are weighing this whether to tell her or not for some reason. I guess they're worried about her feelings.
Yes.
Usagi says, "I got it. I'll take care of this." And she pounds her chest, but I guess too hard because she starts coughing. And Luna's like, "Oh, great, she's going to take care of it." And see,
Right.
this is what I'm
I
talking
know.
about.
Mhm.
This is why I created the dumb bunny scale.
I get
Because
it.
the show is now twisting itself into knots, trying to make her look dumb.
Dumb and incompetent, and yeah,
And I don't even know how to feel.
and a fool, and yeah,
And
I
a lot
know.
of it, a lot of her dumbness in this episode is related to her reluctance to hurt her friend in the relationship. So I guess that all fits. But why do you have to go out of her way to make her look dumb? I don't know. So I'm gonna just say Dumb Bunny 5, and I don't want to really talk about it.
Okay, and why is Luna pointing out her shortcomings a lot too?
Luna hasn't done much in the last couple episodes.
That's
She's
true.
basically just been. Well, she jumped on the
princess.
princess's face.
Yes.
Last episode. But,
Yes.
in the Dark Kingdom, Queen Beryl is furious, and her crystal
Yeah.
ball is flashing all this white, bright energy. She's mad. Even the cocktail party people are scared. And she's been calling Nephrite. He's not picking up.
Yep.
And Zoe Sight is eating this up in the corner. He's like, it's only a matter of time.
Yep.
It's only a matter of time.
Yep.
But Nephrite is in his house. No planetarium this time. Nothing's going on. And he's thinking, I don't have to worry about stealing energy anymore. I just need to get what I need to exchange for the celestial globe, he says.
Globe or orb.
Mhm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Great new stuff. We're only 23 episodes in.
Yeah.
Zoe Sight appears and lets him know that Queen Beryl is mad at him. Oh, no, ooh, Mom's mad at you.
Yep.
And he asks if Nephrite asks him if Kunzite sent him to check up on him. And Zoe Sight's like, yeah, That's pretty strident for a man who's standing around not collecting energy. Why not just quit right now before, right?
Eternal sleep, yeah.
And Nephrite says, okay, well, I'll go get the silver crystal. What about that? And Zoisite's like, no, finding the silver crystal, that's my job. Nobody looks good here.
No.
Zoe disappears, and Neff fires up the planetarium at this point, and he says, this got weird. This is weird. He says that when the sun creates a perpendicular angle between Neptune and Mars, the guide to the silver crystal will appear.
Yep.
Again, we all remember that old saying, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, when the sun and the perpendicular and the guy and the
Who
thing.
doesn't remember that?
Yeah. And the guide that shows up is the black crystal. You guys are just making this up at this point, aren't you?
Well, my question is...
Does this come from the anime? Like, is the black crystal something that is... They didn't find a way to fit into the previous story? Because it's just a bunch of things... People are just saying things now. And there's just nothing.
Are you asking if it was in the manga, or are you...
I'm asking you if it could have been in an earlier part of, like, the first issue or second issue, and then at this point it becomes important. But this whole time they're talking about, if they have a detector that finds the silver crystal, that would have been a great thing to issue to Zoisite.
I agree with you.
Or to have in the world before this.
And if he could have conjured this at any time, why didn't he do it sooner? It makes no sense
because of the perpendicular sun between the Noob, Neptune, and Mars.
I guess it was just the right time to conjure it. So
also, maybe leave Neptune out of this. We're not there yet. You know what I mean?
Neptune,
maybe he should just be dealing with the inner planets.
I see what you're saying. Well, and I think the celestial orb he was talking about earlier is the silver crystal. He just called it by a different name.
Well, look, come on. You got to keep this straight.
I know.
I don't know who's translating this. I'm just reading English.
I agree with you.
Well, he does a fairly awesome magic display, and a huge black hole appears and compresses down into a long black crystal-looking thing. The black crystal.
Yeah.
When he picks it up, he sees Naru in it.
Yes.
So he wonders if she has the crystal. There's too many crystals. Back in the Dark Kingdom, Kunzite is comforting Zoisite. And I don't know, this guy, this is one of those things where we see a shadow or a silhouette. And it's like, if they only knew. It's like Star Trek Picard. They keep cutting back to the bad guys. And so we got to get this bad guy thing going.
Yeah.
Actually, it's all the appearances of the Dark Kingdom have been like that, actually.
No, you're right.
But he's like extra like that. He's like, we're going to get him.
Yeah.
If Nephrite wants to look for the crystal now, if he finds it first, we just take it off of them. No problem.
Right.
And Zoisite seems satisfied by this, and he tells Yasha, that's creepy correct. Monster that's hanging out nearby, that he should go keep an eye on Nephrite.
Yeah.
So, again, are you just making this up as you go? I have a lot of questions, because we had rules up to this point. Jadeite has control of Yoma monsters.
Yeah.
I know all monsters are Yoma or whatever.
Yeah.
Nephrite summons beings from the people that he infects or possesses with his crest.
Yes.
Now Zoisite's just got like little
Minions.
beasties hanging around.
Apparently.
Okay. Well, anyway, that's what's happening there.
Yep.
At the Osaka household, Usagi is standing outside the door, but she's having second thoughts about telling Naru she can't push that button, and so she wonders what to do, and she thinks, "I'll ask Motoki for advice."
Yes.
He hasn't been on the show in a while. So she heads to Game Center Crown, and Motoki is showing some redheaded slut how to play a video game. And Usagi's thinking about how mad she is. She's like, what is this? What is this?
Yes.
When from behind her she hears, "What up, dumpling head?"
Yeah.
It's Mamoru.
Yes.
And he gets in a good one. He yells to Motoki, if he keeps ignoring his dumpling, she'll become a puff pastry.
Yes.
It's just like, you got it. It's good.
Yeah,
also, there's a video game called Knockout Cobra behind them.
Oh, I didn't notice that. That's
which
pretty cool.
Raises the most amount of questions. Is it like a Punch-Out game? But it's Cobra edition?
Maybe.
Or does Cobretti from the movie Cobra have to knock out a bunch of punks with axes?
I would love if it was Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, I want to play that too.
Yeah.
Motoki comes over and asks her if she wants to get some tea, and Mamoru's like, "I'll come along."
Yeah.
Because get a job, Mamoru. Later at the tea house, she tells them that her friend is in trouble and she's in love with a bad person. She's like, "What should I do?" And Motoki says, "You should wait and see."
Yeah.
Because he's a coward. And Mamoru says, "No, don't wait. Tell the truth. Telling the truth is a form of courage," he says. And Motoki agrees because he's He's
I don't
weak.
know. Right.
And they all agree that Naru might be mad about it or sad, but it's better in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
So Usagi thinks for like 2 seconds and then says, "Well, now that I feel better, I'm really hungry. So, waitress, can I get a fruit parfait, some sandwiches, some shortcake, and a pizza, and 3 hard-boiled eggs?" Back at Naru's, Usagi rings the bell, and Naru's like, "What's up?" And Usagi says, "Mr. Sanjoin is a bad person. He's not human. Oh, forget that last part. Oh, bye.
Yeah.
Just give him up. Bye-bye."
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, like, why can't they tell Naru?
I think
Why can't they have like a Rick Jones?
I think she really doesn't want to hurt Naru's feelings, and she already.
That she's Sailor Moon? Why can't they tell her?
Why
about
can't
their
they?
secret?
Why can't they tell her about their secret? I don't think they're supposed to tell anybody about their secret.
Well, they're doing a great job.
Yeah, I know. I'm not. It's not really clear as to why. It just it would be a bad thing. I think, like any superhero or whatever, you can't really tell people
Depends
who
on
you
the
are.
superhero.
Well, that's true.
Yeah. A lot of people know who Daredevil is.
That's true.
A lot of people know.
That is true.
At Usagi's house, Usagi tells Luna, "Don't worry about it. I took care of it. Told her everything. It's done." And Luna's like, "What'd she say?" Usagi's like,
it's great.
She's like, "You didn't just like tell her and like leave, did you? Like that's not."
Right.
It's not even like being a good friend.
Right.
Forget this thing that we've got going on clearly between us right now, or I make fun of you. Like that's what are you doing?
Right.
Back at Naru's house, she's thinking, I know Usagi said no go for Mr. Sanjoin, but he's so dreamy.
Yeah.
Girls, you know. And the phone rings and it's Mr. Sanjoin.
Because of course it is.
And he tells her to meet him in Sankaku Park.
Mm-hmm.
So in that park, it's nighttime. Nephrite says to Naru, I came to say goodbye. You see, I don't want to drag you into a dangerous situation.
Yeah.
There's some pretty rough people are after me.
Uh-huh.
And I don't want you to get hurt.
Yeah.
I like how, in a very devil-ish, like the devil-ish kind of way, the things that he says aren't untrue necessarily.
Right.
He is just employing them and using them in a context, or not providing context, to make them deceptive and manipulative.
Right. No, I agree with you.
He says, I don't want you to get hurt. Goodbye.
So dramatic.
And Naru's like, no, wait, how can I help? And he says, well, if I had a silver crystal, then I'd really be okay. And so we see Naru flash back to her mom, showing her a rare silver crystal. Mm-hmm. Okay, they are just making it up at this point.
Well,
and she says, wait here, 1 sec, gotta get a crystal. Runs off. There's a really neat touch. This whole conversation, we keep cutting from their conversation on this park bench to a light in the park. And there's some moths that are floating around it. And you're like, what is this? Mm-hmm. But as Naru runs off and Nephrite smiles evilly, one of the moths bursts into flames.
Yeah.
It's a cool touch.
It is a nice touch.
Bug death. At Naru's house, Naru she breaks into her mom's secure, safe.
I know.
She's a jeweler, which means she probably has a gun too. And grabs the crystal. Her mom comes in and she's like, what is going on? And Naru runs out, and her mom's like, no.
What happened to my baby?
It's very after-school special.
Yeah.
Elsewhere, Luna and Usagi are on the street. Luna is telling Usagi, all right, we're going back to Naru's because you didn't do it right the first time. We're going to tell her about Sanjoin. And who shows up? But Naru's mom.
Yeah.
She does second appearance. She tells Usagi what happened. She got a call from a Mr. Sanjoin. Now the race is on. Because Usagi and Luna know that she's in trouble. Usagi transforms into Sailor Moon, and they're running to catch Naru.
Yes.
At this point, Naru has given the crystal to Sanjoin. I guess they live by the park. And
I guess they do. He
is trying to get a reading on the silvery crystal. He's touching his thing to it, the black crystal.
Yes.
Too many crystals to the thing.
Yes.
And he doesn't sense anything. He doesn't detect anything. But he senses something weird about Naru. Also, a creepy doll... which is presumably Yasha. We're getting a full view of Yasha now.
Yeah.
Is like a figure in a no costume, basically, wearing a no mask. Mm-hmm. Is watching them nearby. And Sailor Moon arrives and says, I'm arresting you on the charge of romantic fraud, which I don't know if that's going to stick in court, but I like your spirit.
It's a great line.
She says that Sanjoin is Nephrite and he works for the Dark Kingdom, lays it all out there. Naru says, well, there's no way. He's a nice guy. You're a nice guy, right? And Nephrite responds by blasting Usagi with an energy ball. And he calls on the stars for power and then shoots a million energy balls at Sailor Moon, who's having a tough time. But, as per usual, Mercury and Mars arrive. Nephrite's like, great, just got to get this all done. Let's kill you all together right here. Get this all done. Big talk. But we got a bubble spray and a fire soul knocking him back. And we get a moon tiara action from Usagi. But Naru throws herself in front of Nephrite.
Yes.
Like, I won't let you hurt him. And Sailor Moon is able to stop it before it hits her. Which she's kind of changed the path of it, but we've never seen her just cancel it.
We've never seen that before.
So
That's
new ability.
Yes.
Naru says, like, I won't let you hurt him. I love him. And the black crystal starts glowing. And Nephrite's like, sacrificing yourself for someone you care about? Is this human love?
Yes.
Yeah, it is. So suddenly Yasha springs out and is like, is that the silver crystal? And attacks Nephrite. And she's hitting him, and then Naru runs up, and she's going to attack Naru, and he blasts Yasha and blows her mask off, and everybody's like, whoa, he's saved Naru.
Yeah.
And Yasha's mask, which was a woman's mask in No Theater, comes off, and turns into an Oni mask. And its costume changes, too, when that happens, which is really cool. And it attacks Nephrite again, with the Oni horns turned into, like, drills.
Yes.
Of course they do.
Yeah.
But this is the time for the MTA. Yasha gets his, and such regret! Yells, like, as it
I know.
dies.
That was a good line.
Nephrite gives the crystal back to Naru, and the Sailor Scouts are like, hey, what's your effing problem, dude? What is this? And he says, hey, look, if the Dark Kingdom gets their hands on the crystal, we rule the world. Forget you guys.
Right.
And the girls are like, silver crystal, huh? Do any of you know anything about your jobs?
I thought they knew about the silver crystal.
I thought so too. I don't know.
Yeah. The Star Trek, man.
Nephrite leaves, and Naru is, who at this point, I always wonder, we never really have the sailors stick around. They never, like, do an interview for a podcast, for instance, like Superman did.
Sure.
We got to get Superman, by the way, in the
there
show.
you go.
So I always wonder what, like, civilians think, but Naru, I think she passed out or something. But
she did.
As Nephrite is leaving, Usagi wishes on a shooting star that if he really loves her, let him stop doing bad things.
Yes.
And that's the end.
Yes. There's a lot to unpack. Yeah.
Remember when we were just, like, making evil wedding dresses and stuff like that?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or evil dolls?
Yeah.
Come a long way. How would you describe Just Enough Trope? We are the Just Enough Trope podcast. I'm your host, Caliban, joined as always by my co-host.
Hi, I'm Mikan Hana.
Oh no, does this mean they can hear all the things I yell at the TV during Downton Abbey?
Why did you do that?
How do you plead?
Let the game begin. Yeah, check these fresh moves. Oh!
Don't shoot man in face.
This isn't the Save Gotham fundraiser.
It's the Chill Family Reunion.
Master Yoda assigned a Padawan to this bold Jedi.
I think it's pronounced Padawan.
Oh, Padawan, excuse me.
Hey, it's getting late. I think Ralph's going to want his motorcycle back.
Go jerk off the pictures of Jean Grey.
I am freaking getting old.
Yeah, I noticed the life clock was blinking in your hand.
Get out of here, Wilson. Go fight the Teen Titans or something.
I'm unkillable, not unwoundable.
You like Sailor Moon, right? Why don't you sail on his
Oh, wow.
Just Enough Trope. News, reviews, and geek fondue. Every Monday on the Just Enough Trope podcast network.
Loving me never have a say. You so sorry.
What? So for Kyoto Miru, curiously looking around, I thought we could talk about, as you mentioned just briefly, Oni in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Oni are a type of yokai, which are a category of demons, spirits, or supernatural monsters from Japanese folklore. The kanji used for yokai means bewitching, attractive, calamity. And the second kanji means specter, apparition, mystery, suspicious. And that's according to Wikipedia. They are usually a menacing presence with at least one or more horns on their heads, wild hair, razor-sharp claws. They are often depicted as being blue, green, or red, and wearing a tiger pelt loincloth.
Right.
And also lugging an iron kanabo or a metal stick studded or spiked which is a two-handed club. This depiction shepherds the expression oni with an iron club, or oni ni kambo, which means to be indestructible or unbeatable.
Huh.
They are sometimes depicted as having a third eye in their forehead or extra toes and fingers. They are popular villains depicted in Japanese theater, art, and literature. There is a festival which is traditionally done on February 3rd called Setsubun Festival. It is the day before the emergence of spring in Japan. The name means seasonal division. The term usually means the spring Setsubun, or Rishun, observed
So dry.
Annually on February 3rd.
Yes, I will see you at the seasonal division celebration.
Yeah. And in its relation to the Lunar New Year, spring Setsubun was usually considered some kind of New Year's Eve, and was partnered with a revered custom to clean away all of the evil of the previous year. And
There's literally like a sweeping ritual, isn't there?
well, it's called mamemaki, and it's actually they throw roasted soybeans at the supposed oni. It's typically carried out by the Toshio Toko, or of the house, who is the male who was born on the equivalent year of the Chinese zodiac that is being celebrated. Or as an alternative, it could be done by the head of the house. Fukumame is roasted soybeans that are referred to as fortune beans. They are tossed out the door of the home at the person in the family who is wearing the oni mask, while the other members of the household tossing the beans say "Oni wa soto, fuku wa uchi," or "Demons out, luck in." Then they shut the door loudly. This is still performed in people's houses, but it can sometimes also be held at temples and shrines, and people can go see the festival there as well.
Demons.
Yes.
Hate beans.
Yeah, apparently.
Another place that oni are important is often in no theater.
Mm-hmm.
And no theater. And no theater is, we'll have to talk about it in more detail someday, but it's like this very formalized theater tradition that goes back like literally 1,000 years in Japan, where the actors wear masks, and there's all these different things, conventions that you can't change. And it's not like, well, I'm going to like change them and like shake things up. It's like, no, you will not be able to be on a no stage. They have to be done a certain way. I would compare it to like, if anybody knows anything about theater, like in the audience, like I compare it to like traditions of commedia dell'arte, like in the West, you know, or like in Europe, where you've got like these set characters. There's like the main character who's usually like a hero of some kind, and then there's the like chorus type situation, and the stage has to be a certain way, and everybody wears masks, and the masks, with some variations, have to tell you. It's like an emoji. It like tells you exactly like what that character is, and what they're feeling. So there's like hero masks, and there's like god masks, and there's women masks, and like oni masks and stuff like that. And so when you see like when the Yasha first shows up, which by the way, Yasha means like spirit or could mean demon. When Yasha first shows up, it's wearing a woman's no mask, which I've seen that a lot.
Right.
And also the costume. But then like when that gets knocked off, it gets like the bearded, like horned oni mask, and its costume is totally different. And I don't think it has like tiger print, like you mentioned, or tiger or fur. But it's that very much the twisted rope belt, you know, and the hakama on the big sleeves and everything. And it's like, whoa. So I kind of wish it had stuck around, like just boom, keep knocking these masks off. Now it's like, I'm an old man. I'm a farmer. Oh, I'm an accountant.
Yeah, that would have been fun to see for sure.
And one more thing I wanted to say, that Sankaku Park is a park. It's a real park in Osaka.
It's in Osaka?
Yes. Now, I know that Naru's last name is Osaka. Is she meant to also, in the way that, like, Takeuchi is, like, putting all these things from Tokyo in because of her experiences there? Has she also have a connection to Osaka? And so she's, like, slipping Osaka-related things into Naru? I think it's a good theory.
That is a good theory.
But Naru is rich, so maybe she's got a helicopter. Sankaku Park, yeah, I can do that. Gas up the bird.
And then she flies back and steals the crystal. And
Right,
then she
hold
goes
on,
back
one
again.
Yeah, right.
We don't live far. So our next segment is Itadakimasu with Usagi. What did Usagi eat this episode? Well, a lot. When they were at the shrine, Usagi, Ami, and Rei were drinking some kind of red drinks, probably like a berry-flavored soda is what I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
At the arcade, of course, Mamoru says if you keep ignoring her, dumpling head will turn into puff pastry, which you talked about before, which is a pretty great comeback. And then Motoki asks her out to tea, and when they're at the cafe with tea, Usagi's drinking some sort of pink drink, probably another berry flavored soda, maybe a strawberry shake. I don't know. The other two, Mamoru and Motoki, are drinking tea. And then later, Usagi orders a whole bunch of food because she's like, oh, now I'm hungry and I know what I want to eat. So she orders a fruit parfait, mixed sandwiches, a strawberry shortcake, a glass of juice. Oh, and could you bring me a mixed pizza too?
What's a mixed pizza?
So I'm glad you asked that. a mixed pizza, from what I could tell, I went to I looked online and I was trying to find things about it, and I went to Domino's Japan. Yes, Domino's exists in Japan.
Of course it does.
And of course there are lots of variations. Basically, a mixed pizza is like, you know how you can order like toppings like half and half in the States. A mixed pizza, from what I can tell, is like divided up into quarters. So it's like 4 different kinds of pizza.
4 taste sensations from the Japanese pizza machine.
Yes, which if you know anything about Japanese pizza, there's a lot of different toppings.
Mayonnaise and fish eggs on this one.
Right.
This is all squid ink over here.
Exactly.
Oh, man.
This one has corn. And similarly, the mixed sandwiches is something that you often get at like a convenience store. Sandwiches in Japanese are often referred to as sando. And this
sounds like a Star Wars character.
Right. And the mixed sandwiches are typically 3 different kinds of sandwiches. Like they're 3 sandwich halves you get in one package.
They just want every meal, be it standing up on a train or whatever, to be an experience.
I think you might be right about that.
Like it's like single slice of bologna and mayonnaise or butter. That's like an American like eating lunch before he rushes back to his job.
Right.
Whereas these guys have even less break time, but they're like,
true.
I will fire up this self-heating can of beef consomme
yes.
that I will enjoy with my prepackaged club sandwich.
Yes, exactly. And I guess the typical combination is egg salad, tuna fish, and ham and cheese. Of course, there's variations on that, but that's what you typically find.
I could go with that. I like that. That's a Supermom's combo right there.
Yeah, right? So there
Not
you go.
Supermom anymore. That was it. Okay.
My Heart is a Kaleidoscope, where we talk about fashion and Sailor Moon. What the heck are they wearing? There's a lot going on in this episode. Want to start out with the swimsuits when they're swimming. Naru is wearing a aqua bikini that's kind of frilly. We see Usagi has a new swimsuit.
Yeah.
I don't know when this happened.
Yeah, Christmas cake.
Yeah, right? So she's got a purple one piece that ties at the neck and has pink little frill at the top. And then we're getting some more repeat outfits by the sailors, which I think is always a nice touch. Usagi in her pink button-up shirt, and it's a purple skirt. I think I might have said it was shorts before, but it's definitely a skirt. You can tell in this episode.
It's not a skirt.
No, I don't think so.
Hadn't been invented.
And Ami is wearing her blue sweetheart dress, and then, of course, Rei is wearing her Shrine Maiden outfit. But we do get a pretty great outfit from Mamoru in this episode. He's wearing a color block short sleeve sweatshirt top that is blue, green, and yellow, and then yellow slacks.
I don't think that would even what was this, like in 1993 or 1994?
Yeah.
Even in 1993, that wouldn't fly.
Don't you think it's more 80s?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think so too.
He came from the poppin' and lockin' competition like down the way.
Well,
he just threw his cardboard away.
Right. It reminds me
Recycled it.
Right. Reminds me of the jogging outfit he wore the episode we first learned his name.
Well, like, I don't
but
know.
It's different.
Do you think they're giving him that V shape because he's like the heroic sort of character?
That could be.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you mean like the V body shape, like
Yeah.
the broad shoulders, and
Yes.
I think Matoki has that too. But I think maybe the way that he's presented with his apron, he's more like rectangular.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could see that's why they're
More
doing that.
dad.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Well.
I feel like there's more things we're going to be talking about in the
Okay,
future.
well, keep going.
But anyways, and then Naru's wearing a repeat outfit as well. A sleeveless yellow top, orange skirt, and aqua bow. And then we see her mom again for the first time since the first episode.
Yeah, and she had longer hair, didn't she? I thought she had like
I
longer,
think so.
wavy red hair.
I think her hair is in an updo, so I don't think we see how long it is in this episode.
Okay.
But she's wearing a purple blouse, a yellow pencil skirt with a belt, and of course jewelry because she's a jewelry
This
seller.
family will throw anything together.
I know.
It's just a lot of like, oh, let's go purple, orange, and then my red hair. I'm just walking around.
They do not
Like a
shy away
fast
from
food
colors.
mascot.
Yeah, I know.
All right.
And then in the flashback that Naru has of her mom with a silver crystal, what have you, she's wearing like this light pink, like Grecian like looking dress, like the
It's
way
sort of
it's
cinched.
wrapped. Yeah.
Yeah, at the waist.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought that was an interesting choice. We are at Villain Gauge. We rate a baddie 1 out of 5 dark stars, 5 being the most wicked. And this episode, we have a Yoma from Zoi's site this time around.
Does it count then? I mean, a Yoma's a Yoma.
A Yoma is
And
a
the
Yoma.
only good Yoma
Yeah.
is a dead Yoma.
I think you're right
What if
about that.
Usagi's like, transform me into a gun nut?
Oh, my goodness.
She's got like machine guns and stuff.
I would be kind of terrified, honestly.
Oh, it's kind of hot, actually. Good.
So her name is Yasha, which is the Japanese word for yaksha, which are nature spirits.
Is that like a rakshasa?
It does derive from it is
Rakshasa?
related to
I nailed it.
Rakshasa.
First time.
Yeah. And they are spirits that appear in Buddhism, Hindu, and Jain texts. They are often linked to wilderness, water, fertility, trees, forest, or treasure. And yes, early Buddhism categorizes the yaksha in the same classification as the Rakshasa devils.
Do they have the backwards hands? I guess I didn't check in the episode. Are they doing a thing, or you know that scene in Pulp Fiction?
Whoa, where are we
kids,
going?
big ball of twine. That scene in Pulp Fiction where Bruce Willis is like talking to the cab driver, and she's like, Esmeralda Villalobos, what's your name? My name's Butch, honey. Butch, what does it mean? I'm American. Our names don't mean crap. Is it that situation where is he just calling it a spirit then? Is he just saying, is this its name? Is he just saying, spirit, do that? Because he's saying Yasha.
Yeah, I think it
Or is
its
its name Spirit?
But its name is Spirit. Yes. Yes and yes.
Well, no wonder it has an identity problem.
Identity crisis?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're right. Yes, it has the two masks, the no woman mask.
It's a cultural thing, I guess.
Yeah.
Because you probably wouldn't go into a junior high in Japan and meet a girl named Usagi. Actually, now that you'll meet one named Daenerys, so considering the age of the parents, maybe you would. But it's not
true.
a common name.
Right.
But can't people over here have names like, oh, this is Ruby, or this is
Sure.
but it just seems like the propensity of there being somebody who has a name that just literally means something, especially when it's the same character.
Right. I know what you're
And
saying.
they're aware of it, but do they think of this? You know what I mean? Is it like weird? Is that what we're running into here?
I don't
or is this just
know.
lazy naming? Because already all the bad guys are all rocks.
I know. I think
Slightly obscure rocks.
Yes.
But still rocks.
I think the Yoma have obvious, or their names
On
are
the
like
mask nose names?
Yes. Like they what you see on the tin is what you get.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And I think it's I really like what you mentioned about like the no masks and the one getting split and then the costume change. I think that's pretty cool. And the horns swirling around. I think that's really scary. And
They just look at a no mask and like, what do we got?
Right?
Can the mouth, open up and like the jaw unhinges or something like that?
Right.
Ooh, we got horns. The horns are drills.
Yes.
This is an anime.
Yes. And I guess if you want to talk about like Yasha in general, like the anime Inuyasha,
Never heard of it.
It's the same Yasha. So he's like a dog spirit. So
Did Bleach have trouble growing up being called Bleach? Was that hard?
I don't think his name. I don't think his name is Bleach.
I don't
But yeah. And then the Yasha yells, "Besides such regret," which is just a wonderful last line.
But also felt like a very actorly thing. This
Yes.
is its death scene. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Exactly. Also says traitors must die, like to Nephrite,
Right.
which is pretty great. But I'm gonna give Yasha, I think, 3 out of 5 dark stars.
You go first?
Yeah. How about you?
4.
4. Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking about 3 because once again, these like 2-minute men,
Right.
2 buck chuck, Yoma. I generally, sorry, I can't. I didn't see enough.
Yeah.
But maybe it's my theater background, but I kind of appreciated it.
There's a lot going on.
It's too bad. I would have liked to have seen a little more from this bad guy.
Yeah, I would have too. I wish they could have stuck around a little bit more because it was a pretty cool depiction.
Considering it's some of the first like bad guy on bad guy like violence that we've had in the show.
Yeah, that's true because he was like, or she was Yasha. I guess Yasha's kind of
a spirit.
It's a spirit. I think Yasha, like, she has the girl mask and then she has the Oni mask, so it's like I'm not sure what Yasha's gender is. Yeah. But yes, they were very menacing and they did attack Nephrite, which is something you don't see very often. So now we are at our rating of the show, 1 to 5 roses, 5 being the best. I am going to give this episode, I think partially because of Naru saying stuff like it doesn't matter what if there's an age difference, with love, and stuff like that. I'm going to give it 3 out of 5 roses.
Because of that?
Well, because of that, and I don't know. I mean, I think it's sweet that she's like protective of Nephrite, but he's so like evil and like undermining everything that she does and is not straightforward with her. I'm not super excited about seeing that.
But it's just a story.
I know it's just a story.
I've given it a 3 as well, merely because we're moving on to something bigger, and this is we set this up a while ago, and I think it's cool that it's paying off. But we take the first half of the episode is basically just kind of just rewinding everything that we've done up to this point. Like, I'm in love with this guy. And you guys are her friends. Like, you should have known this. Like, why does it take this swimming pool confrontation?
I know.
And going and talking to the boys feels like just a way to get those guys paid, get them paychecks for this week.
Yeah.
They don't really have. I mean, Tuxedo Rose doesn't even show up.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it just feels like a connecting piece.
Yeah. I hear you.
I'd say 3 as well.
All right, and my English title is Molly's Obsession Confession, Road to Heartache.
These are, they're getting better.
Okay, well, good.
Road to Heartache. Let's see. Mine, what am I doing again?
You're doing the deep
cheesy,
title, right? The Viz
titles or whatever, yeah. Mine is 13 will get you a turtle sleep. No.
That sounds good.
Do you get the joke?
Yeah, because there's 13 episodes until Jedi, got eternal sleep, right?
No.
Oh, no, I get it.
What
Sorry.
is it?
She's 13, and Nephrite will get eternal sleep if he does anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You've never heard the phrase 15 will get you 20?
I don't think I have.
I don't know why you would.
I don't know.
You're not a trucker from the 70s.
Yeah, but why wouldn't I, though, at the same time? Yeah, I don't know. I guess I haven't heard that before.
What does it mean?
if you sleep with somebody who's 15 years old, you'll get 20 years in jail.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Pedophile blues.
Oh my god.
We chopped that.
Take a seat, blues.
Well, yeah. I would call this episode an uncomfortable conversation with your child.
Okay. Next episode, we're talking about episode number 24. Naru-chan go Q, Nephrite I no shi in Japanese. Naru's Tears, Nephrite Dies for Love, the English translation. And the English title, A Friend in Wolf's Clothing.
Goodbye, Earth.
I know.
Well, I wonder what we're talking about next time.
I know. They don't even hide it. Well, that's our show for this week, and the Name of the Moon will be punishing you next week with another episode of Sailor Noob.
If you liked 1 Corinthians, check out the sequel, 2 Corinthians.